joining us to talk about the challenges, the issues, and the solution possibly surrounding the Promise Keepers is a seasoned sports journalist and sports head of Inspiration FM, Uyo Akwa Ibom. Adebayo Samuel joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you and welcome to In the Game.
Hey, very good afternoon to you, Favor Toa. Well, it's great to join you on this show. And the key questions you've asked, crisis of leadership, tactics, or team spirit? I'm sure the fans are asking the same question.
Well, you are close to the team. I mean, you've seen them train a couple of times over the past 5, 6, 7 years. I would like to ask, what role has the management instability, especially in terms of changing coaches, resulted? What has it done in terms of the decline of Akwa United? We've had Ayeni, we've had before now coaches have come and go, but it seems the issue is yet to be resolved.
Well, one thing that worked for Akwa United in the days past used to be the fact that there was a philosophy that the team played by. From the days of Abdul Maikaba, where Akwa United moved from being a relegation battling team to one of the big teams in the Nigeria Premier Football League. They had that run that led them to winning the FA Cup, then the ITO Cup, that now led them to winning the title in 2021. But from then, it seems to be some sort of decline in the quality of coaches. We've also seen decline in the quality of players. I mean, this team used to boast of players like Ubong Friday, players who used to go directly from this team to Europe, the likes of Moses Ebiye, that went to LK Stars, that went to Norway. We've seen players of that caliber. But currently, what is the level of players that you do see in the team? At the start of this season, they unveiled about 17 players. And of these 17 players, a bulk of them, without intending to diminish players, appear to be pensioners. Because look at Chideke Lakwe, who by far is one of the biggest additions. The glory days of the likes of Paul Akwa seems to be something in the past. We're not seeing that sort of contribution coming from him. And for a team that usually has some philosophy, we've seen at Akwa United in the last 2 seasons where not exactly played according to any form of philosophy. With Coach Mohamed Baganaru's introduction last season, it was more about grappling to get out of relegation. And no thanks to that away win that they did get against Ruby Stars in Latvia. I'm sure we would have been talking about them playing in the NNL this season. But going forward, has Mohamed Baganaru been able to effect the sort of philosophy that he brings to the team in this current Akwa United? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Losing 4-1, the biggest loss they've been inflicted this season against Ikorodu City. New boys, you might call them. But these boys, after they had gone through the early hurdles, they've shown they're playing according to a certain philosophy. So whatever player you put onto the pitch of play, as they know the philosophy that the team is playing to. In terms of management, the management has done quite a lot. The team pays their bonuses, their salaries on time. But are the players able to deliver on the day? The defense line looks pretty decent. Having shipped in 4 goals, that's something new. That's something pretty strange. I'm sure Tumiga, the goalkeeper, and all others in the goalkeeping department will have a lot of work to think about. The midfield has a mix of experience. Ubong Essien has been around for a bit. Does he offer the sort of leadership on the pitch of play? Well, that's something else you may need to ask yourself. Sheyi Oguntayo, on and off, injuries and the rest of them, but there's been one regular player that up in the attack where they got the bulk of the experience names, which was something they complained about last season, not having those players that can give you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goals in your first 15 games. You don't have such players right now in Akwa United, and that seems to be the bane of that team going forward, scoring the goals. They score 1 or 2, top most 3. I think one of the biggest performances they posted this season was against Kano. Since then, you've not exactly seen that sort of performance. So the team in itself needs to sit back. They need to realize that a lot of work needs to be done. It may not be a management decision. It may be a coaching decision. It may be that when the mid-season transfer window does open, there needs to be a flush out of certain players who are not delivering. But players must be able to come to the team, deliver on the goods of, if you're a striker, get me the goals. If you're a defender, make sure you can keep a number of clean sheets. If you're a goalkeeper, let's know the number of clean sheets you can bring. Those are the kind of players that can buy into the philosophy of the team.
All right, you've highlighted the problems. You've highlighted some of the issues that you think may be wrong with the team. Some would say that they had last season to have reflected on what to do better in this season. And this season, first start is the recruitment, at the club. Some are of the opinion that the very best of players have not been recruited so far by the management of the team, means that maybe the management should have done better in recruitment. Once beaten, twice shy is what they say. But at the moment, it seems the promise keepers have not learned from last season? You just made mention of players that need to leave the team, but the question is the technical crew, in terms of the persons responsible for spotting players or identifying players, is it the case of them not really doing their job? And also, do you think the management should just, call it, call the block for Baba Ganara and say, hey, it's time to go, we'll need to get another coach?
Well, there are two schools of thoughts on this. First, there are those that believe that the recruitment process did not exactly bring the best of players. Now, how do you get the best of players in the Nigeria Premier Football League? Most of these players are dreaming of playing in Europe. Their agents are constantly giving them some sort of short-term contracts. Short-term contracts, you get loan deals. That is what is obtainable in the Nigerian league. And until we're able to afford players, now how much can you pay? Can you pay a player of certain caliber? I'll give an example of Ubong Friday. He played last season. In the second half of last season, he was very instrumental to the survival of the team last season. But at the end of the season, he wanted a new deal. He wanted a new conversation. And the team, as with many state-run teams, depend on whatever comes as allocation from the government. So they have to manage their trips. You know what it takes for a team that travel to Bayelsa, to Borno, Elk and Emi Warriors, to come back, then travel again to Lagos in the space of 1 week. You can calculate hotels, you calculate all of those logistics of moving these teams around and then paying the salary of players. Can Akwa United as a team pay premium on premium quality players at this moment? That's what the question lies. Now, if the management cannot pay premium, it means that they will bring players. Just take it to Europe. How much can PSG or Real Madrid pay for certain quality of players? And that's what
some are saying Ikorodu City.
So until the team is able to raise funds to pay certain quality of players, they may continue to make do with whatever players they can find out that they can afford.
But some are saying Ikorodu City have not gotten the opportunity to have a large budget to be able to acquire experienced players, but they are delivering at the moment, currently on third place, of course, on the table.
Players that play together, that play for a philosophy. Remember when I started, I talked about philosophy of the team. So players that play together for a bit, they play together in the NNL. I mean, I watched the Super League before they did get to qualify. Wonderful team, fantastic team. Even at the start of the season, when they were performing, remember that coach had to resign. The coach threw in the towel looking at the number of games. But look at them. Since match day 5, I think, in their last 5 games, they won 4 matches. This is a team of regular players, like you say, but you can see skill, you can see talent, you can see that they're playing to a certain philosophy, and that's what's getting them the results. Akwa United used to have a philosophy. They do not have a philosophy as of right now, because that is what we're seeing play out with this team until they're able to get that back. I would not want to hit the blame totally on Mohamed Baganaro, and the reason is simple. Don't forget that they had Ayeni at one point. He had quality players. He kept the squad together. They seemed to be working at something, and they had to let him go. Baba Ganaro came on a rescue mission. Duty 1, rescue this team. Now, duty 2 will be get this team back into competition. 1, does he have the quality of players to execute such a thing? I don't think he does at his disposal. Yes, they got some of the big names, but are these big names delivering? They are not. Some of them are signed by injury sometimes. I go to watch them train. I go to watch their games back to back, even the games that they play within the region. I do get to watch, and it's a team I followed closely for a long period. But unfortunately, players are not, they're not delivering for the team at the moment. The team is left with 2 options. If you must do something, you must do something quick and drastic. There will be no Pep Guardiola weeks, and that is the reality. It would have to be, you either sack the coach, getting a new coach who's ready to build a philosophy. Philosophies are not built in one day. It will take some time. You'd have to regroup. You'd have to let some players go, bring in new players. They will need the time to gel, and then you pull all of this together. How much more time do they have? Match day number 15 is gone. We have 13 more match days before the season is over. Will Akwa United grapple relegation against this season? That means the question that the management should continue to ask themselves. What can they turn around in 23 matches? How many of these matches are home matches? Can they win all of their home matches? How many of these matches are away games? How many of these matches can they get at least 1 point from? Key questions they must get to ask themselves if they are to survive this season. I won't place my money on Akwa United surviving the season. 2 seasons back-to-back about relegation. I'm not going to place my money on them surviving relegation.
All right, what a way to end this conversation. I mean, the calculators, I believe, are out already and should be selling a plaza right now to calculate how and which and where Akwa United will be able to survive this season. But it's a major call for concern. We hope that the management does something drastically. Dakada FC are currently in the NNL, and I believe that the people of Akwa Ibom will not be looking forward to have another team in the NNL. Thank you very much, Adebayo Samuel, for joining this afternoon.
It's my pleasure, Favor.